Hello, Serge here from the backyard driving range. We have a question that came in from Arthur Reese, and Art says, Don, I am almost 79, have been playing golf since a teenager. I watch all the tips, but the best tip ever was the one about open to shut club face info. I have been hitting with the club face open and thought it was square for some time. Shots were fading and I was losing distance and not striking the ball well. Today I practiced with what you mentioned, hit the ball square with better distance and control, and shot the best 9 holes around in 2 years. Made all the difference in the world. Thanks for the tip. Nobody talks much about the club face position. Again, Art Reese. Art, I guess it seems to be really weird or whatever you want to call it, because, I mean, in all reality, hitting the ball where you want it to go is the club face position is very critical, because as we know, that to hit a good golf shot, science has proved and shown that the club has to approach the ball on the aiming line. The shaft here aimed at the camera is the aiming line. Has to approach the ball on the aiming line, strike the ball while it's on the line and be square to it. Leave on the line accelerating and hit the ball solid in a sweet spot while doing the first 3. That was told to us by Dr. Alistair Cochran in a book, The Search for the Perfect Golf Swing, which was published in 1962. All right, and about 20 years after that, 24 years after that, a NASA physicist turned golf pro by the name of Dr. David Pelz came along and started studying putting and the short game, and when he was trying to decide in putting, after he'd gone out and taken all kinds of notes and things about what the tour players were doing, at one point he said, and this is all in his book, Putting Like the Pros, which was published somewhere around 1986, I would say. And after he'd got all this information from the watching tour players and everyone else, in his book, he says that he decided, well, I think I need to know what has to happen to make a good putt. And I'll bet you when all this material I got, the guys that are good putters, what I see in their setup and swings versus the guys who are not as good at putters, they'll probably have something better that is producing those putts. And so he went out and started, as I said, after studying it all, he hit thousands of balls and determined what you had to do to make a putt. And again, on, square and solid. So on, square and solid is everything from takeaway to finish. Is at impact. It has to be on, square and solid to hit any good golf shot correctly and accelerating. Okay, so that's why it's always important to keep accelerating through the ball, not decelling. And that's what the peak performance golf swing with the 3/4 swing has been shown in the studies we've done, that the bigger turns and longer swings tend to be because you're coming over the top from parallel, pulling it up, and it brings over the top and coming down. You're actually slowing down that impact, but the peak performance swing is always in constant acceleration going through impact. So that's one good point. But club face is still critical. And why do we, with the peak performance golf swing, have a much more consistently more solid club face? I should say more square club face, and hit the ball more solid at impact, is because we have the swing that defines the perfect amount of rotation. Our arms are connected to our shoulders in a ball and socket joint, and so our arms rotate, all right, because it's in a ball and socket joint. Now the key is that I can stand here, and I'm going to stand from this position so I can rotate the club from square right here on the outside of this mat, and rotate it all the way to here. Now, because you have a good grip, when we have a good grip, the hands are perpendicular to the ground. They are basically diametrically opposed to each other. So as long as they stay in that opposed relationship to each other, whatever one does, the other one's doing exactly the opposite. So once I get in a good grip and its palms perpendicular to the ground, when I take the club away into the catcher's mitt, as you know, that's directly behind the aiming line, into the mitt, toe up, and then I lift it straight up, so the club face is toe up there, and I bring it back down. It eventually will always rotate to palms perpendicular to your body, which will have your palms perpendicular to the ground and perpendicular to your aiming line. So you have that 3-dimensional perpendicular relationship relation from takeaway to impact. Now the key that's going to give you a relatively straight shot is that you have to also rotate properly going through the ball, which means once we're square to our body and our target line, then we go into the catcher's mitt toe up. and that's going to give us a very good, consistent, just the amount of rotation we need to hit the ball straight. Maybe a little bit of draw if you really are rotating and hitting the ball dead square and rotating up fast enough to that point. Now, naturally, if I rotated it to there, there's a good probability that one split fraction of a second too much rotated, and I'm already going to be rotating too much past the impact. It could be left, and you're going to start hitting pulls and hooks. So we control our rotations by the toe up to the toe up. That's like shake hands this side, shake hands that side. And when you put the club in that position right there, square, the club is straight up. And when you put it in this position on this side, it'll be straight up on that side. Because when we swing our arms in front of our body, it's always the palms are always perpendicular to the ground, and it pretty much remains the same when we get over bend over into the athletically ready position. So we are controlling an exact amount of rotation, and that's why it's always guaranteed. It's always guaranteed that every time you get to 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock in the swing, your palms will be perpendicular to the ground. And if you have a square club face, that means when it's perpendicular to the ground at impact and you're parallel left of your aiming line, you'll have a dead square club face every time, and you can control that by going toe up here and toe up on both sides. Toe up and up here, and toe up into the forward catcher's mitt and over the shoulders, from toe up to straight over toe down. We're not ever getting the face skyward or downward in any part in the swing. And so we have that diametrically opposed opposition of the hands to each other in a good grip. Pretty much is a guarantee that if you swing it vertical into the mid toe up and into the mid toe up and up, you'll be square at impact and hit the ball relatively straight and solid. And that's what we all want, because we know straight and solid is going to hit the ball much more straight. The solid gives us consistency in our distance, and solid and straight is going to add up to keeping the ball in play and shooting those lower scores. Well, that's it for the search for today, and I'll be talking to you all again soon.